Yo, it's Luke and Angus in the banner zone. Basement vibes where the chaos is grown. Beer in the hand, F1 in the rear view. Rugby hits harder, but the league's got a clear view. Crack a cold one, independence the creed. From hops to scrums, we plant the seed. Yield the generation, the party's raw. Shit posting legends, leave them wanting more. That's the rap. It's a basement affair. Luke and Gus serve the chaos, no room to spare. Beer was sipped, truth was spun. F1 engines roar, the banter ain't done. Catch us next time. Same shit posting spree. Basement Quality Banter where you're meant to be.
What do you think of that?
Word.
Yeah, it's a bit cool for us.
I like it.
Good to see you. Have you had a nice break?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Seemed like a very fast break. We kind of finished work and then did a little bit of family stuff, and then I'm back at work again. Pleasingly for me, anyway. Over the holidays, normally I get, I don't know, probably like 10 or 15 help desk tickets over the holidays for my work, but I got one ticket over the holidays, and whenever I kind of logged in to just have a look at things, no one was logged in. There's no one hitting the database or anything. So I think pleasingly for my work, everyone buggered off for the holidays and didn't do much work.
Only one ticket's a pretty good result.
Yeah, so that was good. Yep. Spent I'll get to it later, but I spent a lot of time being frustrated with my beer system. But I'll cover that later on.
Have you got a beer this evening?
I do. I'm just finishing my homebrew Galaxy Pale Ale. But what I'm going to pour after that is filter. Wait, it's not working.
Yep.
Filter Brewing Red Session Ale.
Yep.
Really nice beer.
Yeah,
it was part of my subscription pack.
Yep. Yeah.
Part of my subscription pack last month in December, and I had one before, and I'm like, "Whoa, I'm going to save that for the potty." It's right down my alley. Red IPAs, red pale ales, red ales. Just something a bit different about them than pale ales and IPAs. They're like that. Just kind of the real focus on the malt and that sort of character really tickles my taste buds.
Yeah, no, they're great. I'm having something a little bit different. I'm on the Bacchus Maple Bourbon Reserve. It's a 10.9% pastry stout. That's had staves that have been soaked in Woodford Reserve bourbon, and maple syrup has been added. So it's just a cheeky 3.2 standos to welcome us back to the potty. But I did crack. Of course, Santa got a sparkling ale, which he either gets a sparkling ale or a tallie of pale ale. But I had on my birthday, I had the Stone Curlew Ferments Rosa with some Dirty Bird, which paired an absolute treat. And you might remember from late last year, I was unable to be technically advanced for the Stone Curlew call. If I've got this right, we should be able to hear the time to go home alarm now. Yeah, that's the sound to go home. That's when all the trains have stopped going from the valley and the Stone Curlew. But yeah, it was a cracker, a really sour, really dry. Went great with a greasy Dirty Bird, so it was really good.
Yeah, that's the exact sound I made on the potty.
Right. It was actually. I just
exactly.
It's just a remix, actually. So
nice one. That roaster was really nice. I really like that beer. I've still got my 3 in the fridge. I've got this weird compulsion when I buy like special beers is I have to save them and share them with someone. I can't just drink it all myself.
Yeah.
So I've still got my 3 bottles in the fridge. Uh, I don't I don't know what it is. It's a hang up.
It's
I just need to
especially
share it with someone.
if you've spent a bit of money on it too. Like it's something a bit more. I don't know, a bit more special, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel the need to just bang a whole tolly to myself. Um,
All right, make me
anyway,
feel
so
bad. Thanks for that. Jeez.
no, it's like I said, it's my hang up. I didn't say it was the right thing or the wrong thing. I said this. My hang up is that like I've still got a couple of bottles in my fridge and my cellar in the shed, like a year old, because I look at them. I'm like, no, I've got to share that with someone. I can't just drink it all myself.
Yeah. No,
So
I
it's my
get that.
hang up.
So, in beer news, now that we're back to normal programming, you've got a focus on Venezuela this week.
Venezuela. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was my target for random international beer news this week. I figure any good news from that region is a plus in my books. So there's a Venezuelan. Well, I've got a brewing company, but they're actually food and beverage. So it sounds like they do a lot of things.
Mm.
Empresas Bola, which I'm sure I've drastically mispronounced. Which I was talking to my sister over the break, and she said I absolutely murdered the pronunciation of whatever I said in Portuguese. She said I absolutely murdered it. So
Well,
either less practice or more practice.
at least she was listening. I guess we can take that as a, a bonus.
Yeah. Well, off topic, but she had a bit of a crack at me about not publicizing it because we were down in Sydney. Um, unfortunately, my one of my aunties passed away, so we were down in Sydney for the funeral, and I was talking to my cousin who loves craft beer and is into like old American cars and things. And Jane, we were at their house, and Jane said, "Do you know Angus got a podcast?" And my cousin John is like, "No." And Jane's like, "Angus, you're the worst. Like you're running a beer podcast and you talk about like the Ashes and the F1 and this rubbish stuff, like like guy stuff, and you're not even publicizing it all." So that's probably a goal for me this year is to publicize this bollocks effort a little bit more. Anyway, back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a food and beverage company, Empresa Spoiler, made a massive push into the US market. So they're with their Polar Premium beer offering. It's been brewed in Florida, I think, from memory, which it would be nice for it to be brewed in Venezuela still and imported into the US, but maybe that's a way to get around if they're still trade exporting taxes and that sort of thing. Maybe that's why they're doing that. But it gave me real strong Cooper's brewing vibes. So this Polar Premium beer sounds very much like a Pilsner. Ranks in around 6%, and they market it as being fully made from 100% malted barley. And given the US's love of aged lagers, maybe that probably is the reason why they're pushing it as a premium lager.
Yep.
So much like Cooper, what's pleasing is that Empresas is still owned by the Mendoza family, and they've now got a third generation level of family involved in running the brewery. So very much like Cooper's, they've got quite a few generations of people involved in the brewery now. And they're actually ranked as the largest private entity in Venezuela.
Wow.
So
I
that's
thought it'd be
interesting.
I thought it'd be one of the oil companies or the dodgy government, but obviously not.
Well, I think the two words private entity are probably the key word in that sentence.
Mm.
Didn't have enough time to do a lot of research, but I got a feeling that a lot of stuff is controlled by the government, and so that shows kind of the importance of that those two words, private entity, in that sentence. So
Yep.
I don't know, yay, family-owned breweries
Yeah.
still powering on.
Yeah.
And that's the only beer news I could find from Venezuela under the massive deluge of articles related to US military activities. That's the only thing I could find. my Google foo was not strong enough.
Yeah, it's going to be it's probably going to be bombarded now because that's just crazy what's going on there. But like you said, private equity, yeah, it makes a lot of sense because I think the biggest problem in Venezuela, by the sound of it, has been the government's taken ownership of all the businesses pretty much, and all focused it on the one area, which is the oil, and so I think that's what's led
Yeah,
to super inflation and everything like that. Yeah.
I didn't have time to do any research on it, but so this Impress Us
Mm,
brewing or food and beverage company only barely survived in, I think it was 2014, 2015, where the government basically took control of all imports and exports,
yep.
took control of everything, and companies had to apply to the government for access to materials. So they only just survived, and apparently a lot of breweries went down
Yeah.
during that period because they either couldn't get access to raw ingredients or couldn't afford to pay the government rates.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, you have moving to more local news. You have a really cool story about one that's been dropping on the feed over the last couple of months about Carbon 6.
Yeah, they've been dropping some very, very obscure hints during the last part of last year about their beer scavenger hunt. So they've dropped some more solid details on their Crack the Code 2026 beer scavenger hunt this year. So so that's going to kick off in February this year. Um, like I mentioned, following some very obscure hints and clues during the last part of last year. So I think it reads there's 6 breweries between the Gold Coast and Noosa are involved. Um, no details on who those breweries are or where they are located. That's part of the scavenger hunt, right? But so be prepared to fill up the car as the clues for the breweries involve traveling, investigation, finding clues in venues and things. So I think again, like just really clever marketing campaign to get people in cars and in on seats in breweries and venues because, like we've mentioned a million times, that's where they make the most money is bums on seats getting beer straight across the bar from the tanks that are 3 meters behind you. So again, really, really clever marketing campaign. Um, so think Carmen San Diego and great independent beer.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
So the release I read mentions the complexity of clues provided eases over the weeks of February. So week 1 of February they'll start dropping clues on their social media outlets, um, promising very obscure clues to start with. So I think that first week you're going to need really specialized local knowledge on whatever the clues are. I assume they'll be kind of obscure local general knowledge on I don't know venues or tourist attractions or something like that. And then over the weeks the complexity eases. So they're saying by the 4th week you should be able to work out where these breweries are. Um, so I can hear Angus. What can I win? That's what I'm hearing across the real time podcast internet chats.
What can we
So
win?
you get a gift from the 6 breweries. I assume that's some form of beer. Um, there's a brewing experience at one of the whichever the breweries is closest to you. So you get to go into the brewery and be on the brew floor and throw malt in and hops. I assume as
Just get
a
you to CIP. That's all they'll do.
well, I was gonna say, I assume as a complete rookie, they'll get you to shovel all the crap out of the mash tun
Yeah.
and then wash it all down, and they'll sit back at the bar and drink beers and throw shit at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You also get to package the beer, which I don't see that as a plus, to be honest. Packaging beer is slightly harder than cleaning up brewing systems, so that's part of it as well.
No, low
And you
fills.
receive a cut.
Low fills are great when packaging beer.
Ah, well, I am underfill, too
Yeah.
full, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fingerprints on the can,
Yeah.
yeah. That one had too much oxygen. Um,
Yeah. The date was a bit crooked on that one. I'll keep that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I accidentally shoved my thumb in that can of beer.
Ah, Can't have that.
So you get a carton of beer as well of the beer that you brewed, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Also probably my choice is there's a half day tour with our great friends Joss and Matt at Hop On Brewery Tours. So having done it last year, for me that's probably it's a real hard choice between doing a full brew day at a commercial brewery or um, a tour with Joss and Matt. So that's a hard one. So
Both.
that sounds like a great reason to dust off Trumpy and get some miles on the tires.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's really it's I like you said, it's a great marketing tool. Um, Actually, I've liked some of the stuff that Adsy's been doing there at Carbon Six. Like he has the C6 news and um, has a little fun pokes at himself and the brewery and stuff.
I want to ask Adsy
Yeah.
if he stole my idea for the tie because he's done the Carbon 6 news and he's
Uh,
got the tie on. I'm like,
he
I
got
did that
told.
first.
Yeah, he got
Like,
told that he had to wear a tie after the first one. Yep. Yeah, they wanted to level up the professionalism, so yeah, we might have started something there.
yeah, I need to ask him next time I see him. Mate, where's that tie come from?
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. I had the Crafty Pint reported today that Sam and Dunk are parting ways from Hop Nation. Oh, sorry, Dunk is. With selling his shares back to Sam to head back to winemaking after a decade. Head brewer Tim is still in charge. He thinks the brand should remain strong. So good luck to Duncan after a decade. Hop Nation have done some pretty cool stuff. Jedi Juice was probably the
Jedi
biggest
juice.
hazy hit. Rattenhund is still a cracker of a pilsner. They've had the Kalash, the Russian beers. So yeah, good luck to them. In sad news, over the Christmas break, Great Northern Super Chris was named Australia's top-selling beer for the fifth time, which really demonstrates why we need to do better as an industry to educate the population on how good beer can be. The sad part is those profits are going overseas, and the beer is adjunct. That's not 100% malt. So
Yeah, it's not Venezuelan premium.
no, it's not. They use sugar cane in that one. So think
Is that sugar cane from up here?
oh look, it's probably imported bags. Probably heaps of dextrose too. Yeah. Carlton Dry, Forex Gold, Cooper's Pale Ale, and VB round out the top five. Surprisingly, I really think that's a huge effort for Coopers
Yeah, that's
to be in the
massive.
top five of selling uh, beers in Australia, and of course the only family-owned independent out of those. The rest are all Japanese-owned conglomerates. So yeah,
That's a massive effort. When you look at the other four beers that are listed there, and you just imagine their marketing funds compared to Cooper's.
yep.
That's that's a massive effort for Cooper's.
I do think they you find Coopers everywhere, which is great. I even had it on
Mm.
Magnetic Island last year. It was great, but like they've got to be having so much support from South Australia to really move some of those volumes in the southern states,
Mm.
um, because up here you see pallets of bottle shops with pallets of gold and Great Northern in the drive-throughs and things like that, but you don't really see the pallets of Cooper's Pale Ale or Sparkling Ale or any of them. So they really must be moving it probably in the southern states or yeah. But it's a great
Yeah,
result.
yeah. Someone's drinking a crap ton of it because I'm not. Like, I'm not drinking cartons of Coopers. So obviously there's a massive market for it down south.
It's stupid because every time I have it, like Santa did at Christmas, I forget how good it is, and I just go, oh, I just got to come back to it. So yeah, and it's reasonably priced for what it is, but yeah. Gab's Hottest 100, as we discussed before Christmas, there's been a lot less promotion for this campaign. There's been a little bit since Christmas. I think the voting closes on Sunday. So if you want to have your say in the limited popularity contest, do so. I still am keen to see the results, including how many votes and how many entries. But it definitely looked like slim pickings this year.
Yeah. When that's run on 26th January, isn't it?
No, they changed it from Invasion Day because Triple J did. Triple J changed their Hottest 100 was for Triple J was always New Year's Day, which was great because that was like a recovery day. Then they moved it to
Yeah.
the public holiday, which is Invasion Day, Australia Day. But because of the backlash they got for that, they've usually put it on the Saturday before, so it's actually on the 24th. So it's Triple J and Gab's Hottest 100 on the same day, which is the 24th. And there was a great event at EB by Hiker last year with, they did the same thing that Black Ops did years ago, where they have the Triple J playing on the radio, and then every time a beer is announced, they put it up on a big board in the brewery. So it should be another fun day. I just don't think it's got the following it used to have. But as I said, we've discussed it before.
Yeah. Well, this year I was actually really planning on going somewhere for one of the events, but I'm now down the Gold Coast on a family holiday for the weekend, so I don't think me sitting at a brewery all day listening to beer results and drinking beer is going to fly.
You might lose some dad points on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're in Burleigh Heads, or just a little bit north of Burleigh Heads. So,
Nice.
Black Hops. I'm having a mental blank on the new brewery in Burleigh. We talked about it.
Padre.
Padre. Okay, all I could think of was Parente, and I'm like, I know it's not them. Padre. Yeah. So
Padre, Burley. Yeah. Even Tap
Burleigh
That.
Bruin.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you'll have to. We've still got to go for a bike ride down and see Padre, but we'll just have to find. You might get the inside word for us.
Inside word. Well, that's next month. That's end of this month. So unless we hook something up in the next couple of weekends.
Definitely. What else did I have? Deadline for entries for what we think is the best beer competition close soon. January 30th is the cutoff for the Royal Queensland Beer Awards. High level of talented and experienced judges and stewards, making sure your beers get the best opportunity to shine. And we know
you and I will be there as well.
Yeah, we know from experience how good that
Bring the
is.
basement.
Yep. And come and say hello to us if you're stewarding or judging. I think we probably won't record an episode that week, depending on. I think the awards is a Wednesday night. With the Spirit
Tuesday,
Awards,
Wednesday.
they're doing something different. They're doing the awards at night, I think. So it might be Wednesday or Thursday night.
No, I think it's still Thursday. Let me check my calendar.
But it's really good. The brewers get heaps of feedback and they can rebrew before the Australian International Beer Awards, the Melbourne Royal. So it's a really good time to get that feedback for beers. Get the awards. It's probably one of the more affordable competitions with some top class judges and me and some really good stewards and Angus. So
And me.
yeah.
Is it? It's in February, isn't it?
Yes. It's at the end of February, like the last week of February.
Yeah, I don't have my calendar. Yeah, right.
You've put in your expression of interest, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been accepted. I'm locked in and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting because with my veterans rugby, we've got a weekend at Stratty on the 21st or the 20th to the 22nd.
Yeah.
So I might be away from my family the Friday to the Sunday, roll back in for one night, and then straight into the beer awards on the Monday.
Yeah. Well, Was it
Negative dad points.
was it last year? Last year I went to Chemical Brothers. We're on during the awards one night, so we did beer judging all day. Chemical Brothers came back for beer judging next day. Basement Jacks are coming this year, but luckily they're on the Sunday
What?
after. They're on the Sunday after, so
Okay.
I won't be tired any of the judging days. So, yeah, Basement Jack's first concert in 15 years at River Stage. So my wife and I are looking forward to that one.
Oh, that's it. Remember, you remember my massive screw up where I talked to someone during the beer awards about the fact that that concert was on, and I couldn't remember what it was, and I booked tickets, and I spoke to everyone, and I couldn't find anyone, so I went by myself.
Mm.
And then I was talking to you the next day, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that was me you were talking to," and I was so we were both at the concert, probably 5 meters apart.
Yep.
So, but I'd be interested in Basement Jacks. Yeah.
Yeah, jump on if you are, because yeah, it's the first full concert they've done in 15 years in Australia, and River Stage the Sunday night after the beer awards. So this is not a sponsored post, but love a bit of Basement Jacks. I think that's all the beer news I have. You were going to talk about your brewing, your cheeky peek.
Yeah. So in this podcast episode of Top 5 Reasons, I'm going to list my top 5 reasons to trust a really good systems manufacturer. So I bought my system off Cheeky Peak, and they've put a lot of way overthought this brewing system that I bought, and so I should have trusted them. But here's the top 5 reasons. They designed the system, and they've probably put a lot of research in how the system works. Their hardware recommendations are probably correct for the system. Trusting their recommendations will probably save you 5 full days across your Christmas holidays, mucking around with PID control variables, countless liters of water, and probably about $150 in electricity costs for the month. You probably could have brewed 3 batches of beer in all that wasted time over Christmas, and you would have saved about $500 in electrical installs, stupidly high-powered heating elements, and drastically reduced your frustration levels during the holidays. So I've come to the conclusion that the heating element I've got in there is just way too high powered for the volume of water in the outer pot. I was just getting overshoots all the time.
Yep.
No matter what I did, I could not. I was getting like 10, 11, 12 degrees overshoot in the outer pot.
Yeah.
Which meant I was getting about I was getting between like 2 and 5 degrees overshoot in the inner pot. But it was because of the way the system's designed, it was taking like about an hour for that inner pot temperature to drop down to my mash temp. So if I was mashing at 60, or if I was mashing at 63, the temp would be 65.5 for an hour.
Yeah, no.
And then the short, if you're doing a 72-degree rest or a 78-degree in the mash out, you would never even hit the proper temp because it would be sitting at 74, 75 degrees. It would never be at 72 before you then started ramping up to 78. So if you have a good system manufacturer, listen to their recommendations.
So you're going to downgrade the element then?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm going to talk to my electrician. I'm hoping that you can kind of split, because I've got a 32 amp GPO installed, and so I've got a 32 amp plugs on the controllers and on my heating element. So I'm hoping that there's some way to split that 32 amp line into 2 individual 2200 watt elements, which is still way below the 32 amp. It's 19 amp or something.
Yep.
But just that you're allowed to do it and able to do it. And that way I can use my single control system still, and it'll just be a single plug out of that. And then I plug my kind of split power runs into the 2 elements. Because otherwise I need to buy this add-on relay to my 32 amp to control a second element. Anyway, yeah.
No,
I'm hoping I just get the 32 amp run out of the control box, split into two plugs from a 2200 watt elements, which is what Chicky Peak recommend to use with the system.
Yeah. But you thought
So,
it'd go bigger.
well, I was having problems getting my kind of home coded PID system to control the elements. So anyway, yeah, there's a whole thing. I could do a podcast on it, but everyone would be
You've
bored.
only spent 5 weeks on it. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm not mad at all.
So, lastly, I had the only thing really for sport in Australia at the moment is cricket. Ashes, I thought was a bit disappointing, the series. However, I thought England came back in the last 2 tests. I thought there was some really good cricket. I thought Head and Stark were the starring players for both for us. Stokes, I think, did the best he could for England. Root finally got a century in Australia, and young Bethel, who got his maiden Test century, got 150. 22 years old, blonde tips, earrings, gold chains. Reminds me of a young Shane Warne. I think we are going to see a lot of Jacob Bethel in the next few years. Well done to all of the England supporters who spent years saving up for their money and time to come out here and support their side. 859,000 was the crowd count from the 5 tests, and remember, some of those were only 2-day tests. So they've got to be happy with that. Well done to England for their support and all the people who supported it. Just a pity the cricket wasn't as good, but I think it was still a really good series. And you even watched it. What's all that about?
I even watched it. Yeah, I watched the third test late in December when I was working from home,
Yeah.
and I watched all of the fourth test over the holidays. And my wife questioned my sudden interest in cricket, given that I've never watched cricket ever before in my life. And I don't know, I didn't really have a good answer for her. Maybe my subconscious is trying to wanting to embrace my bogan roots, Bathurst, watching Boxing Day test and ignore my family and drinking beer over the entire Boxing Day test. I feel like I've kind of really kind of connected to my bogan roots there.
Well,
But I think
apart from drinking 12 Faf cans, did you enjoy the cricket?
yeah, the cricket was really good. Yeah, I thought it was a good game. One guy you forgot was Scotty Boland, and I think that he is the real unsung hero. Where Mitchie Stark was, he's taking wickets left, right, and center and terrorizing people.
Yep.
But that only ever works if you got someone up the other end just restricting everything and frustrating batters, and just absolutely
his
just
economy
being
was
so
1 run of
annoyingly, inconsistently accurate every ball in the same spot.
Yep.
They can't play any shots.
Love it.
He just frustrated the hell out of them.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give a big thumbs up to Scotty Boland.
Yep.
I thought he had an absolutely outstandingly accurate Ashes series.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant. And I'll go to the Big Bash again. Great crowds with less games this year. So far, there's been edge of the seat stuff with some amazing finishes. The two games in Brizzy recently where we should have lost with the Brisbane Heat, and we won both of them. And then last night there was needed 4 off the last ball, hit a 6 off the last ball to win. So that was pretty cool for the Melbourne Renegades over the Scorchers. But I have, and I'll finish the podcast with my controversial cricket opinion: the pink test. So yes, it raises awareness and money for cancer nurses, which I think is great. However, a lot of like a lot of charities, it's a bit of a scam. So of the 20 million odd raised last year with the McGrath Foundation, 9 million went to nursing, 11 million went on marketing and administration. So less than half went to the cause. And I would say a big chunk of that's probably a substantial salary for Glenn McGrath himself. I think the court of public opinion is a bit over Pidge. a lot of charities. Red Cross got in trouble for it a few years ago when 70% of the money that was going to them was going to administration. I get admin and all that. I don't get marketing. I don't know why the marketing is so big unless they actually pay the Sydney Cricket Ground $5 million to hold the pink test, and that's considered marketing. That might be a big chunk of it too. It's just on their official website. It does break it down, so it is public knowledge, that breakdown. But I just, it sort of just irks me a bit. Just remember how quickly Nintendo Wii dropped the ads with Glenn McGrath and his children and his very quick replacement wife a few years ago. I still think the court of public opinion's a bit out on the whole Glenn McGrath thing. And if anyone has noticed the ads, the Toyota ads that he's featured in, he doesn't actually speak. So I reckon that would probably cost Toyota more if he actually spoke in the ads. So I just think there's a bit of a money grab there, and it just really feels disgenuine. I know a lot of people get behind it, and he often. I was listening to ABC radio while I was mowing the lawn. You watch Channel 7, you watch the Fox coverage, and every day Glenn's on there saying how good they're going and how many nurses they're doing, but it just feels like an advertisement. And I think Australians have got a pretty good tolerance for stuff, but when it feels like it's a bit of a piss take, I think we put our alarms up pretty quick. But that's just my opinion anyway.
Yeah, obviously I've no idea on what's involved in running a charity, and even a charity the size that that the pink test is involved in.
Mm,
But I know from my work at Worrells,
mm,
there's a lot of oversight, a lot of controls we've had to put in place where we run a trust account for potential jobs.
yeah,
And so we have jobs that are potentials, and we say need to put money into the trust account. So, and that's not an account that we can run funds from or fee processing or anything. That's a full proper audited trust account. And so we've had to do a bunch of things over the years to kind of align our systems with what's required by the auditing processes and the requirements from the government.
yeah.
So, um, like I'm not I'm not trying to defend the Pink Test charity foundation, but there's a lot of oversight.
Mm.
Like
There's
we've put a
probably
bunch of
yeah, and look, it probably has been broken down somewhere. It just the fact that
yeah.
those numbers were publicly available, it means they're being transparent. It just seems like when less than half is going to the cause, it just seems a bit shit. But that's just me. Anyway, great first episode back. Thank you for jumping on. Welcome to 2026, everyone. Remember, if you're serving alcohol, it's today's date in 2008, which is it's a bit scary, and for over 18s. And we'll catch you all next week.
Yep. Thanks, Licky. Good
Cheers.
to chat again, and
Yeah.
see everyone later.
And we have to promote better this year, apparently.
I do. You do a pretty good job. I do a terrible job.
It's all good. See ya, mate.